Does that sound right to you? I mean, you have huge operations in Europe. You invest all over the world. Do you worry about US competitiveness, or do you think, as John is essentially saying, that's the wrong thing even to be talking about?
John speaks the truth. I learn by listening. I'm an investor. He's the entrepreneur.
Sorry. Sorry, I
You're so excited now.
So a couple of thoughts, and I'll try to be a little broader than energy and sustainability. As David knows, I sit on the board of Walmart as well, and
oh, I forgot that. Is that a company?
it's a global company, for sure.
Is it as important?
So I'll give you just a perspective on what I see, just personal opinion, not speaking for Walmart, certainly not speaking for when Facebook will go public or any such thing.
Oh, yeah.
Privacy.
Last time we were on stage together, you made a mistake and said that.
So I think the way I come at it from an investment standpoint is let's dial forward 10 years, 2020. Where will the trillion-dollar market cap companies be? And in what sectors will they be? I think there's a decent chance that Google, Apple, Amazon, perhaps Walmart, a major financial services company based in the US, has a chance over the next 10 years, if they reinvent themselves, to potentially be a trillion-dollar market cap company. I would bet a lot of money, however, that there is equal or greater likelihood that that trillion-dollar market cap company will be based in China or India. What we're seeing at Walmart, this economy is absolutely not recovering. This is a personal view, not the Walmart view, but connecting the dots. The average US consumer is running out of money at the end of the month. That's been very constant with 5 days to go each month. Whether it's Walmart sales, whether it's social commerce sales like Etsy, virtual goods sales, the average customer is running out of money, and it's not improving in the US. And so anything we're hearing about the recovery happening out of Washington or Sacramento or Albany, you pick it, I think is just dead on incorrect. So I'm not seeing any of that. And so the assumption, particularly around small businesses, is that the capital that everyone talked about freeing up is absolutely not freed up. There is no small business lending that's improving. And so the US right now, I think, is in a precarious position. I would bet that over the next 5 to 10 years, you will see more market cap created in China and India than certainly if we stay the course in the US. And while I'm wildly optimistic about mobile and social, the reinvention of media in some consumer and mobile internet sectors for the US and Silicon Valley, unless we fundamentally change the bickering in Washington and in the state capitals, and we fundamentally change the perception that it's the US versus China or the US versus Russia or the US versus the UK in terms of job creation, there will be an order of magnitude more market cap created by 2020 elsewhere in the world versus the US, so, in my humble opinion.
So then do you agree with John's very strongly held belief that we really need to effectively not only not prohibit investments by anyone, including the Chinese, but encourage far more economic integration for all of our benefit? Does that sound logical to you?
I'm making the bet, and 10 years from now, we'll see if we're right or wrong. In 2000, we had 7 partners at our firm, all based in Palo Alto, California. Today, we have 28 partners worldwide, and we have 7 partners, different partners, based in Palo Alto. 25% of our partners are based in the US. I would imagine in 2020, it will not be higher than 10%.
Okay,
whether it's Russia, Brazil, other parts of the world. We have twice as many partners in China as we do in Palo Alto.
But that's about investing there, which is obviously, you want them to let us invest there because you're sort of an American money, right?
No,
right?
No, it's seamless. When we have partner meetings, and we're looking at the new social virtual goods company that sits at the intersection of, you pick it, mobile and commerce, we are evaluating opportunities in Beijing against opportunities in Palo Alto, California, Cambridge, Massachusetts, Cambridge, England, and Moscow.
Yeah.
And we're trying to pick the one or two best, and whether it's a US investment, a Chinese investment, it's a partnership investment. And so for me, making the distinction between Bangalore, Beijing, or Palo Alto is a serious mistake if we take a 10-year view of the investment.
So then, just to be concrete, prohibiting Huawei and to invest in 3Com was a big mistake.
It was a huge mistake.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
Thank you. I'm just going to get it clear there. I just want to say one thing also, and we have a surprising dearth of tweets, so please tweet to me, people. Okay, Peter, go, say something. And wait, get the mic to Peter, okay, and then to Cameron. And I got something else I want to say, but we'll get those comments or questions first. It doesn't have to be a question, it can be a comment. Go ahead.
Just a piece of information. Literally in the last week or so, Senator Dianne Feinstein and Orville Schell of the Asia Society have created a commission on establishing the rules between China and the United States for joint investment. So, in fact, there is mounting concern precisely along these lines among some in Congress that, in fact, the kind of mindless reaction in Congress to these kinds of foreign investments, in fact, is now beginning to shift, and the opening is just beginning.
Could I react to that?
Yeah, please. That's what you're up here for God's
sake. I agree. Thank you, and it's true. Now, the investment fee, the bilateral investment treaty is not a new concept, but most of you know. We actually have a number of them. The biggest of them is with the 17th largest economy in the world, which is Turkey. And then any other ones that we have, and then we have another 39 of them, by the way, between our country and them. It's all smaller than Turkey. And so all these South Korea, the Japan, the Singapore, the China, the Russia, the Great Britain, none of those we have a bit on. And I applaud Senator Feinstein's effort, and I really do. And she and I actually had a chat about maybe 3-4 weeks ago about this. Now, she came back from China. I think she's a very smart lady, and she came back from China after visiting Taiwan and got bombarded by all the arms treaty sales and all that arms sales stuff to Taiwan. And she finally realized that Jim and I, as business people seeing, the politician is not seeing. But unfortunately, she's like one out of the 100 senatorial votes, and then, of course, mindless number of congressional people. And
mindless number or a number?
Yeah, minus number and minus 3. But see, this, I always say, one of these days I have time, I'll write a blog on this, but I always think that, business people in the United States gets globalization. The government never gets globalization. They speak globalization. They actually don't know what the hell it means. And because they immediately turn around and say, I needed votes. Instead of creating a better life for everybody, us and other people, citizens, we try to compartmentalize ourselves. And this is one of those technology meet economy meet public policy.
So just to dispense with something fun, Bjorn's whole point was we ought to be investing more in green technology. I suppose we don't even have any argument about that here, right? This is just a given. You're probably investing in it, right?
A little bit.
That's not one of your main...
A lot in China, very little in the US, but that's just because there are better firms in the US who do that in that particular sector.
But you are investing in green technology in China.
Yes, we are.
Just there's more opportunity for you there right now.
But that's also a question of what we do in terms of expertise. There are firms and people who understand green tech in the US far better than we do.
Yeah. Well, we may want to talk to John Doerr about that. Well, we're going to let him... I'm sorry, Cameron, go ahead. Sorry.
Cameron Lahian with Global Catalyst Partners. I guess I wanted to make a comment in agreement with John and Jim. If we look at the history, when United States of America was created, any company or organization that restricted themselves to only operating in one state did not manage to grow and become a national entity like Walmart or Sears or any of those. And in terms of the governments, we look at it the same way as we moved away from feudalism, as we evolved towards having the concept of a country and then later on the concept of super country. Many of people, I believe, within our Congress and many other governments are still thinking of feudalism terms rather than global thing and seeing what's best for the planet.
Let me just say,
Yeah.
and I agree, and we've talked in the past, if we were advising children today, graduating from college, students, should they go to India? Should they go to China? Should they go to Palo Alto to start their company or get the experience? I would say that it's a very, depending on the sector, it's wide open. And in fact, the US right now makes it far more difficult, particularly if you're Chinese. My parents were Hungarian. If you're an immigrant, you are not welcome to start your company in the US today. So there is a public policy issue. There is a recruiting issue, whether it's Facebook, whether we are competing for the best and brightest when it comes to competing at top universities versus Google and Apple and Microsoft and Cisco. We could go on and on. We are doing not everything we can as a country, but many things to make it really attractive for the best and brightest to leave our country and to start their businesses elsewhere.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
To add one thing statistically, I was studying the H-1B visa thing, and everybody knows a lot about that, right? 2006, 2007, the H-1B visa, the 65,000 whatever limits, was gone in half a day.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, 2009, it took 9 months. So people aren't staying. You got to realize we have an attitude of no problems. We're educating a lot of them. A lot of them ain't coming either, by the way. They're going to Australia. They're going to Great Britain and all that. Great education. We fundamentally, we're still living in the age of 1950s. We're the one who created the transistors. We're thinking about that right now. At least the government's thinking about that, and everything else surrounds that. But anyway.
Okay, I want to just say one thing. I had a great conversation with Nobuyuki Ide earlier today, and I asked him if he would say something at the session. He said I could go ahead and say it for him. He has this amazing idea that just dovetails perfectly with what John was saying at the outset. He has this concept of the city OS, which we at Techonomy are quite excited about. The idea being, why don't cities get together and start agreeing on basic standards for infrastructural systems, right? And why don't we have some common elements that we can deploy globally and then think of it as coming all up together? And he's actively promoting this notion, and I love it. He's a Japanese guy, former CEO, who's, by the way, on the board of Baidu, also on the board of Accenture. But I just love that idea, and I think it's just the kind of thing that can go to this. It's a bottom-up approach. The cities can do it without the national governments even being involved. It's all a matter of where you spend your money. And cities are spending, technically speaking, a shitload of money on stuff that really could be done probably more cheaply and in a way that helps everybody more if it was done more collaboratively. Right. So I just love that idea. He actually analogizes it to the iPad, to like an OS where you can plug things in. Anyway, Bruce